Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 21st of October and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the today's video. In the video, we'll discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll see all the articles with the background as well as way forward. And before that, I would like to tell you that if you are new here, you can download the explainer PDF from the Telegram channel. In this explainer PDF, the detailed notes of all the articles that we are going to discuss has been given. The link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box in the YouTube. Moreover, you can visit the Telegram and search there Thinking Palette by Sahil. Now, before starting, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important for our for the examination. Now, the first article talks about that Truss announces the exit UK to get its third prime minister in the 3 months. So guys, the UK's prime minister has resigned because of the corporate tax cuts that she has announced. Because of that particular thing, she became unpopular in the UK and now she has decided that she is going to resign and the new prime minister will be coming. Now, beyond that, you don't need to go in this particular article because it is the internal political matter of the UK. Okay, then on the side, competition panel imposes 1300 crore rupees penalty on Google. Now, why this particular thing has been there? Because you might be knowing this particular thing that when you buy the Android mobile phones, there are some pre-installed applications by the Google. Okay, there is a pre-installed Google browser and all such kind of an applications. Now, the Competition Commission of India had said that that particular thing is defeating the competition. It is giving a monopoly to the Google. Okay, so Google owns Android and the Google owned apps as they are being installed, it is defeating the competition. So therefore this fine has been imposed. Now guys, you don't need to go too much into the detail that how much crore rupees fine and all such kind of a things, because this is a kind of a more of a corporate issue on the Google that has been there. Then moving on, Prime Minister launches new mission to combat climate change. We'll see this particular article which has been provided. Withdrew new AIMS rules for treating MPs that promote VIP culture. So guys, recently a new standard operating procedure was announced into the context of the AIMS, where it was provided that round the clock the doctors will be available to help the MPs for the OPD and all such kind of a thing. So there is a kind of a backlash that everybody is equal and such kind of a culture should not be promoted. Then moving on, in the city section, the political news etc. has been there. Crucial to act against pollution this winter. So on the pollution, there is one article in editorial section also. We'll see that one also. Then moving on, the advertisements etc. Standards fine. No need to go here. Moving on in this particular direction, guys. Then in the regional section, honesty shops to inculcate virtues among the students. Now this is a good article with respect to the ethics GS paper number 4. We'll see this particular article. Then moving on, costly milk leaves sour taste in the Deepavali sweets. Okay, then the Metro Plus page. Now this contains the leisure and all such kind of things. Then coming to editorial page, the first article talks about this Hindi and Hindi alone council is flawed. So this article talks about the recent parliamentary commission, the recent report of the official committee on the languages. Fine. So we'll see what has been provided in this particular article. Then moving on, checks, no balances. Now guys, yesterday if you remember, we have discussed one entire article from the text and the context page where we have discussed that China has blocked the India and USA attempts to designate certain terrorists as the international terrorist. So the details, okay, that which terrorist has been blocked and all such kind of things are being provided here. Then moving on, extended family, the first test of Mr. Kharge will how he treats Mr. Tharoor. So this article talks about the presidential election in the within the Congress that has happened. Fine, with respect to exam, article is not much relevant. Addressing North India's burning issue sustainably. So this article talks about the winter pollution problem because of the stubble burning that's there. We will see this particular article also in detail. Should Dalit Muslims and Dalit Christians be given the SC status? So we'll see this particular article as recently a 3-member committee has been constituted in this direction. We'll see that. Then this is a notebook article, the importance of understanding many tongues. Now guys, this article, okay, it is also talking about that basically the official language committee wala issue is being discussed here. We'll see that particular article. And secondly, this article is about the personal details etc. Then coming to the text and the context, saving the vultures of Tamil Nadu. So as Tamil Nadu has developed the state level committees, in that direction the article has come. Then moving on after that, how is the energy crisis in Europe shaping up? Now guys, this article is talking about that how basically in the Netherlands in the region of Groningen, in the region of Groningen, there are certain pipelines which is having the leaks, okay, and all such kind of things are being provided. Now how much CBM of the gas is actually provided, which region receives that, okay, what is such kind of a usages have been provided. Now guys, the examination doesn't contains much of the UPSC relevant or exam relevant substance. Then moving on, pandemic and a free press, how the largest democracy reported on COVID. Now guys, this article is the article from the archive means this article was published earlier. Now guys, recently what has happened, one of a journalist who was going to the USA to receive the Pulitzer award has been stopped. Now this particular article is from 2020, which talks about at that point of a time that how the COVID-19 pandemic was unfolding. Now this is a very old article, and in the present times the article doesn't hold much of a relevance, because at that point of a time these many migrants are going from this place to that place, okay, such kind of a reporting is being discussed. Then after that, moving on, political articles etc are not very much important. Then this article, initiative to help the prisoners get out of the legal maze swiftly. So with respect to the examination, a case study will see this particular article. Then Army's fourth round of emergency procurement to be from India. So the article talks about the emergency procurement, okay, that the armed forces are doing, okay. So that particular procurement will not be from the other countries, it will be purely from India. Then then moving on, Interpol launches metaverse for the global law enforcement. Okay, so guys, basically now we have seen that the Facebook, after the Facebook announced its plan for the metaverse, so metaverse has become a kind of an important thing. What is a metaverse? Metaverse, it is a kind of a alternative digital world, okay, alternative digital world in which you can make the cities, you can make the buildings there, people can have their own avatars and all such kind of a thing. So Interpol has decided that such a metaverse will be launched, where there will be the metaverse, where a person, registered person, can take the virtual tour of the general secretariat of the Interpol, can meet the officers in that metaverse, can take the forensic training and all such things, okay. Then moving on, center launches program to strengthen the Kashi Tamil Nadu bond. So this particular article talks about the that one of initiative under the Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat that has been announced. Center ISRO moots 2-day conference on ancient science. Okay, so basically on the November 5 and November 6, okay, this particular conference is going to be held, okay. Now guys, as the conference will be held, okay, we'll see at that point of a time what important things will be coming. Then panel looking forward, panel looking into SC status for converted Dalits. We'll see this particular article. Already there is one issue in the editorial page also. Forest conservation rules infringed upon to the rights of the tribal people. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then guys, moving on. The Truss promised UK a shake-up. So this article talks about that how the UK's Prime Minister is taking an exit. Okay, we will continue assertive fighting diplomacy China. Okay, so guys, understand this particular thing, that right now Communist Party of China's week-long session is going on, and over the past few weeks or past few months, there have been repeated allegations in this particular line that the China uses wolf warrior diplomacy. Wolf warrior diplomacy. Now, what is this wolf warrior diplomacy? It is a type of a diplomacy where China, rather than being subtle, rather than being gentle, becomes very harsh, becomes very outspoken, okay, on their issues. So that wolf warrior diplomacy, sometimes also called as assertive diplomacy, fighting diplomacy, now that has been the cause of concern in many of the countries, but now China said that will continue that particular thing, okay. Then 1962 anniversary brings new attention to forgotten war. Now in the China, the 1960 war, two wars anniversary etc have been discussed. Low exports share lands opportunities, not gloom, okay. Okay, now this particular article talks about that how basically right now we find this particular thing that the exports are not doing good, okay, and what will be the and how that particular thing, okay, how that particular thing is bringing some kind of a kind of a gloomy outlooks onto the Indian economy. But right now we need to use this particular opportunity to make sure that what can be improved. Then after that, the corporate trends, etc. have been discussed, not important for the examination. Okay, and then we have the sports page. So this is the overview of the entire newspaper, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, now guys, we'll be starting up with the GS quotation, and in the quotation we take one quotation which can be important for our UPSC examination. So today we'll take the quotation from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar says that rights are not protected just by the law, but by social and moral conscience of the society. Okay, so today, for example, we have the fundamental rights given in the part 3 of the constitution, and fundamental rights have been given the highest protection. Number 1, there is article number 13 which talks about that any law which will violate the fundamental right will be void. Then under the article number 32, the Supreme Court, and under article number 226, the High Court has been given the mandate to protect the rights, particularly the fundamental rights. Okay, that is one side of the story. But these rights cannot actually be enforced onto the grounds until the moral conscience of the society is upright. Okay, until and unless the social order doesn't want the implementation of that particular law, it cannot come. So the first thing to implement the rights of the other people is to build the high social and moral conscience in the society. Now this particular idea can be used in GS paper number 4, GS paper number 4, ethics, and in the topic number 1, ethics and human interface, this particular topic can be utilized. So that is all guys about this article, and now let's move to the next article. Honesty shops to inculcate virtues among students. Okay, now this particular article guys will see with respect to the GS paper number 4, ethics. Okay, ethics, and within the ethics there is the topic number 1, that is ethics and human interface, where the value inculcation as a topic has been provided. So in the topic number 1, value inculcation, we'll see this particular article. Now before going in this particular article guys, I would like to give you some of the basic background with respect to the ethics GS paper number 4, and then we'll move in this particular article. So basically guys, there is one particular saying, that is catch them young. Catch them young. Now what the catch them young means? Catch them young means that if a particular kind of a behavior is to be if a particular kind of a behavior is to be expected from the people, then they are to be imbibed with certain particular kind of a values. Now I just be making a kind of a flow chart here. Please do use it in your examination. Now guys, it has been provided that one's beliefs will shape one's values. Now the values will shape one's attitudes. One's attitudes. Now the one's attitudes will establish, one's attitudes will be influencing the person's choices, and the choices will drive the action. And action is something which is judged onto the parameter of ethics. It is judged onto the parameter of desirability, on the parameter of justness, rightfulness. Okay, so when you see a person's action, okay, that action is seen that whether it is just or unjust. Now you see this particular thing, that action at the end of the day is coming from the values. If these values are positive, if these values are moral, then the attitudes will be positive, choices will be moral, and finally the action will be moral. Now all the time we expect that people should do moral action, people should do moral behavior, but in order to bring morality here, the values first of all need to be perfected. And most of the values, when they are formed in one's childhood. Okay, so therefore in the childhood, if there are some interventions which are done, they can bring a kind of a civilized citizenry in the society. In this particular direction, the Kerala has taken some very good initiative which should be replicated across all the states of the country. Okay, now first of all let's understand that what Kerala has done, and then we'll see how it can be implemented across the country. Now guys, see this particular thing. uh, Kerala. Kerala has launched this, or already the Kerala is having the student police cadet project. Under this student police cadet project, Kerala aims to tries to inculcate the civic sense among the students, how to behave with the people, how to use their rights, how to be mindful about their own duties, and how to become the responsible citizens of the society. This is the aim of the student police cadet program of the Kerala. Now, as the part of this SPC program, now the Kerala has established the honesty shops across the 15 schools of the Kerala. Now, what is this particular social exercise? As a part of this honesty program, there are the counters, and these counters have the items such as the pencils, notebooks, erasers, etc. Now onto these counters, there is no salesman, there is no person. The students can simply come, they can drop the money for each of the item. So each of the item has listed their MRP. The students can drop the money and they can simply choose any item that they want. Now the school, they have the CCTV facility, but this CCTV facility has been switched off so that the students go there and they behave fine. Now as the students are, there is no external pressure, as no one is watching. Here the true moral character of a person will be coming out. And guys, these kind of exercises builds a confidence. These kind of exercises actually give a meaningful nudge. It gives a kind of a meaningful nudge, and people just by the voice of conscience often behave morally. Okay, so basically these honesty shops, they are trying to inculcate the value of integrity, the value of honesty. Okay, so these honesty shops are there which will be selling these kind of items, and the goal of teaching the values of trust, honesty. Now you see this particular thing, a person is going to be honest if the person thinks that a person is being trusted. If always a person thinks that there is no trust, there is a wide distrust, okay, which is prevailing in the society, then there will be no incentive to be moral. So therefore, as the trust is being bestowed onto the students more probably they are going to behave morally and ethically. Is it clear or not? Fine. So this is, guys, all about the goals of this particular initiative, and please do use such kind of things in your answers. For example, you are writing the answer on ethics, you can give that recently the honesty shops were established in Kerala which aims to teach the ethical conduct to students. So please do use these kind of things. They play a very important role in enhancing the quality of your answers in the exam. Okay, so that is all about it, and now let's move to the next article. Okay, now this is again a very good case study which can be used in the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. Criminal justice reforms. Criminal justice reforms. Okay. Before that, let's take a very brief doubt. Sir, please tell me how to read newspaper for UPSC. बहुत doubt हो रहा है sir. Okay, dear, this is only that thing only. Okay, so we are seeing the newspaper, we are identifying which articles are important, and then we are discussing that particular important. So just this is the aim of this video. Okay, so when we take the overview, try to observe the important articles, and then as we are discussing the articles with the background and how they are to be utilized in the exam, follow that thing. Okay, and nothing is more than that. Okay, now basically, before going on this particular article, let me tell you a little bit about the criminal justice system and the criminal justice system reforms that we need. Okay, so basically, guys, the criminal justice system, what it contains. Okay, now suppose there is a person. Now this particular person has been accused that the person has made a theft, or the person has stolen something. Now first of all, the police will come. Police might be arresting this person, or police might be investigating that particular matter. So police will come, police might investigate that particular matter. Okay, then that particular case will be filed into the court. The case will be filed into the court. Then in the court, that particular case will be heard. Now let's say the court orders that that particular person should be put in custody, or let's say the court says that actually this particular person has carried that theft, put this particular person in prison, put this particular person in the prison. So this is the process that will happen. Now when we talk about the criminal justice system, the criminal justice system contains all the things that we have discussed. Criminal justice system contains the police, it contains the investigation, it contains the judicial processes, courts, as well as the prisons. Now understand this particular thing, that criminal justice system in India has many of the problems. Many number of times the police, they lacks professionalism. Many number of times the investigation is not carried on the basis of science and forensics. Thirdly, in the court, often there are the delays, the backlogs, and because of that particular thing, the case drags on for so many of the years. Then when we talk about the prison, in prison there are the problems. For example, very high occupancy in the prison. When we talk about India, the average occupancy of the prisons in India stands around 120%. There are some of the jails where the occupancy is reaching at around 150%. It will lead to the poor hygiene, poor living conditions in the jails. And thirdly, guys, basically because of there is the log jams into the court, because the police is often not very much professional, investigation is often not very good. What happens with large number of people as under trials, they are struck into the Indian prisons. Who are the under trial? These are those people whose crimes have not been proved, case is going on, but still they are in the jail. Now many number of times these people have spent more time in the jail. Even if they would have got the punishment, fine, whatever punishment they would have got, more than that they have already spent into the jail. Now if I tell you the problem of this under trial, okay, this under trial problem, how big it is. So guys, recently the last, okay, the Chief Justice of India, Justice N.V. Raman, provided that 76% of the prisoners in the jail, they are under trial. It means their crime have not been proved. And what happens? It defeats the principle of natural justice, that innocent until proven guilty. If we treat innocent until proven guilty, that principle is being defeated. Moreover, just to give you a kind of a value addition, I want to give you a very important point. Recently what happened, there was the Satendra Kumar Antil versus CBI judgment, okay, or the CBI case, that was judgment that was given by the Supreme Court. Now this judgment we have discussed a lot when we were discussing it few days back. So under the Satendra Kumar Antil versus CBI, it was said that bail should be a norm and jail should be an exception. But in India, opposite is happening. Jail is a norm and bail is an exception. Supreme Court said this particular thing, that often the bail is being denied, and because it is being denied, there is so many of the under trials that are languishing in the jails. So this needs to be corrected. So as far as possible, give under trials the bail. Okay, that is something that is going on. So please keep all this particular background in your mind, and now we will enter in this particular article, that what the article is talking about. So now let's talk about this thing. Now when we talk about the under trial problem, it is common to all the states. In Chhattisgarh also the problem of under trials and the jail occupancy is there. And in this particular capacity, what had happened, there is one more judgment which came few weeks back, that is the Sonadhar versus state of Chhattisgarh. And in Sonadhar versus state of Chhattisgarh, the Supreme Court has asked the suggestions from the government that how to reduce the overcrowding into the jail. And why overcrowding? I told you 76% under trials. Now in this particular response, Chhattisgarh has taken a very innovative and a very good and a kind initiative. What they have done, they have established the Lok Adalats in the jails across the Chhattisgarh. And in these Lok Adalats, what they are doing, these Lok Adalats, so the convicted prisoners and even the under trials and even the convicted prisoners, they are coming to the Lok Adalats and they are opting for plea bargaining, they are opting for settlements into these particular Lok Adalats. Is it clear or not? Into these particular Lok Adalats. Now guys, understand this particular thing. First of all, what is the concept of the plea bargaining? Now the plea bargaining, it is a kind of a process in which there will be a kind of a negotiation that will be held between the prosecution and between the person who is accused. Okay, so basically the person who has been accused, fine, they can enter in a kind of a negotiation and a lesser term can be awarded to them. Okay, so this is a kind of a partial negotiation between the accused and the prosecution. So here what will happen, the person, into the case of under trial, person will say that okay, I am guilty, You don't need to go for investigation. I will accept that I am guilty. You give me the lesser punishment. So this is a plea bargaining that can happen, settlement that can happen. Okay, so this is something that is there. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that everybody cannot approach the Lok Adalats. Only in the few category the people can approach the Lok Adalat. For example, under trials, first of all, under trials they can approach these Lok Adalats. Okay, and now they can approach these Lok Adalats. Moreover, the people who have committed the small petty crimes such as the petty theft, house trespass, cheating, they all are eligible of hearing the case into these particular Lok Adalats. So only the under trials in these particular cases can adopt. So if there is an ardent rapist or a ardent there is an ardent let's say serial killer, they cannot approach there. Okay, obviously, because then it is a very grave problem. Moreover, there are certain people who have been arrested under the preventive provisions. Now preventive provisions are such provisions which are, now many number of times there are certain people who might lead to some ruckus, who might create some problem. So in order to avoid that, these people are put into the jail. For example, let's say the Prime Minister is carrying a political rally in a state. So there might be certain notorious elements who might create the law and order problem. So these people are put in the jail by using the preventive provisions. Okay, so there are the many of such acts which are providing such preventive provisions. So these people can, their cases can be heard into these Lok Adalats. Okay, so two things guys, please keep in your mind, that the people who are under trials, find their cases, and the people who have been arrested under the preventive detention related provisions or petty crimes, their cases will be heard within the Lok Adalat, and these people will be provided the bail. Okay, and recently 450 prisoners, they have even walked free out of the Chhattisgarh when the Lok Adalats allowed them that they can go out, they can walk free. They were given either the bail or their charges were dropped after going for some kind of a settlement. So this is something that has happened, and these kind of innovative things can actually fulfill the mandate, actually fulfill the Supreme Court's directives given under the Satyendra Kumar Antil judgment. So this is guys all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this particular article, and now we'll move to next article. Forest conservation rules infringe upon land rights of the tribes people, NCST chief. Okay, now before going on this particular article guys, I want to give you one little bit of a background, and by this particular background will be understanding this particular article. Okay, now first of all guys, when we talk about the National Commission for the Scheduled Tribes, National Commission, okay, first of all the article will be important for our prelims examination, because the provision with respect to the National Commission for Scheduled Castes, Scheduled Tribes, sorry, have been given. And secondly, we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, governance issues. Okay, and one element of the social justice will also be covered here. We'll see this thing. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, okay, so the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe has been established under it has been established under the provisions of the article number 338A. Okay, fine. So article 338A, it talks about the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe. Now the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe will particularly be looking into the grievances, problems, okay, the social justice aspects of the scheduled tribe people. Okay, just a minute. I hope guys, am I audible? Okay, am I audible? Is my voice audible? Guys, am I audible? Is my voice audible? Please tell me. Okay, fine. So yes, now the National Commission for Scheduled, National Commission for Scheduled Tribe aims to put forward the grievances of the scheduled tribal people. Now guys, when we talk about the scheduled tribe, Often in the Britishers times, often in the colonial times, it has been observed again and again that the tribal people's land rights have been alienated, tribal people's community rights have been alienated, and all such kind of issues are very prevalent. Now, in order to recognize the rights of the tribal people, there is a landmark act, that is the Forest Rights Act 2006, that came. Under the Forest Right Act of 2006, it was provided that the land titles, of the scheduled tribals will be recognized, as well as they will also be given the community rights over some of the resources. Community rights means that they will be given the right over the well, over the forest, over nearby, let's say some other kind of a resources if it is there into the forest, grasslands, pasture lands, etc. Okay, so community rights and the land rights. Land rights means the maximum of 4 hectare of land which they have used from the historical times. These lands will be given into their own name. Pattas or the land titles were to be given to the scheduled tribe people. Now, to the tribal people as well as the forest dwellers. Forest dwellers will also be covered in that particular thing. So this is a very important landmark act for them. Okay. Then apart from that, there is also the PISA. That is the Panchayats Extension to Scheduled Areas Act. So the Panchayats institution also got applied to them. So the PISA Act of 1996 and the Forest Right Act of 2006 are two very important landmark laws in India for protection of the scheduled tribals' rights. That is something that has happened. Now, when we talk about the provisions of the FRA, it has been provided that if any land of the tribal people is to be taken up, then the consensus from their Gram Sabha needs to be taken up, and the communities viewpoints should be asked. That is something that is happening. But guys, when we give so much of the rights to the tribal people, often it comes in conflict with the two issues. Number one, it often comes in the conflict with the environment, and secondly, it comes in context of in conflict often with the development and infrastructure development initiatives of the government. Number one, environment. So just a couple of years back and even few days back, in the case of Kerala also, there was a controversy. Now guys, little bit I'll tell you about that. So Supreme Court provided this particular thing, that around all the protected areas such as the national park, etc., 1 kilometer of zone is to be notified as eco-sensitive zone, and in this 1 kilometer region, no habitations will be allowed, no developmental activities will be allowed. That thing was said. Now the Kerala government opposed this particular Supreme Court's judgment. They said that there are many of the tribal people who are living around the forest in this particular 1 kilometer region. So if they cannot live there, then what will happen? Their rights will get violated. Already their right over such lands have been recognized into the Forest Right Act 2016. Their rights will be getting violated. So many number of times these tribals are living into the forest, so they come in conflict with the environmental conservation laws. Then second is the development and infrastructure. Now many number of times some highway, basically you can say power transmission lines or such a mining project, it is to be taken up. Then also the land cannot simply be acquired because it has been given under the due provisions of the FRA 2006. So understand this thing, this controversy is not new. From time to time, again and again, this particular controversy will be coming up, and now again such kind of issue has opened up. So let's see that what has happened. Now guys, basically what happened? The Union Environment, just a minute, I'll use a different color pen. So what happened recently? The Union Environment and Forest Ministry has come out with the Forest Conservation Rules 2022. Now these forest conservation rules, they have been announced under the Forest Conservation Act. So under Forest Conservation Act, forest conservation rules have been announced. Now as per these particular rules, it has been provided that the consent of the local tribal people and the forest dweller will not be taken up for the diversion of the forest land for the other people. Now already I told you earlier that if any forest land or the tribal people's land is to be used, is to be taken up for developmental purpose or any other purpose, the Gram Sabha's mandatory consent was to be taken up. But now it's not needed. This is the proposal that was given under the Forest Conservation Rules 2022. Now, this particular thing was criticized by many of the tribal activists and people, and now even the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe had recommended that such kind of forest conservation rules should be put on hold. Now, as this particular new rules were notified around the month of the June, what happened? National Commission for Scheduled Tribe formed a 6-member working group. Okay, and this working group included the members of the commission and the expert member onto the tribal matters, and it was seen that whether actually it will be infringing with the rights or whether such provision should be given so that more and more development comes in this particular region. And it has been found by this particular expert panel that this particular provision will violate the Forest Rights Act and it will infringe upon the rights of the tribal people. And therefore, National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, who has been given the mandate to protect such kind of rights, now they have provided that this particular rules should be put upon hold because they will infringe upon their rights. Now, this is guys this is a kind of a classical dilemma into the process of governance as well as into the process of development. See this particular thing, that if we go more towards the conservation of tribal rights, it will often lead to the violation of environment. It will lead to that particular thing. Secondly, often it might have some implication on the development. So this dilemma is there. Now the way out of this particular dilemma cannot be at the extremes. Neither one can be followed to extreme, okay, neither the other can be just compromised or sacrificed. So we need to have a balanced approach. We need to have a balanced approach where all the things should go hand in hand. So in this particular thing, first of all, we need to make sure that whenever the development on any one front is coming, it should have bare minimum. It should have very less intervention in the other. Is it clear? Secondly, all these particular activities, for example, these forest conservation rules that have come, which talks about diverting the land, these things should not be announced unilaterally. All this process needs to be onto the basis of consensus by all the stakeholders that are there. So this is guys all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this article, and now we'll move to the next article. Saving the vultures of Tamil Nadu. Saving the vultures of Tamil Nadu. Now guys, this particular article we have discussed yesterday also. Okay, briefly we'll revise it again. There are some new points that had come which I have added in the notes that have been given. Now this article, I told you, is very important article with respect to the prelims examination, because in the prelims vulture conservation has been an important topic, and in the past even the question has been asked on such kind of a line. So for the prelims examination this is a very important topic. And secondly, in the GS paper number 3, issues of environment conservation, again it is going to be very important article. Now first of all guys, just let's revise it again if you have seen yesterday. If not, then please be very careful. So in India we find 9 subspecies of the vultures. When we talk about the vultures, vultures have been called as the nature's scavengers. Vultures have been called as the nature's scavengers, as they consume the dead carcasses, the dead leftovers of the cattle and the animals, and by that they keep the pathogens in the check. They arrest or they stop the spread of the deadly pathogen infectious diseases. Okay, this is something. Now when we talk about the vulture population in India, we have 9 vulture species. The first one is Oriental white-backed vulture. Oriental white-backed vulture, which is critically endangered. Now these status are onto the basis of IUCN red list. Second is the slender-billed vulture. Now slender-billed vulture is the critically endangered, again on the IUCN red list. Long-billed vulture, which is again critically endangered. Then there is the Egyptian vulture, which is endangered. Then red-headed vulture is there. Okay, red-headed vulture, it is again critically endangered. Indian griffon vulture, which is least concerned. Okay, then Himalayan griffon vulture is there, which is near threatened. Cinereous vulture, again near threatened, and bearded vulture, which is also near threatened. Okay, now when we talk about the vulture population in India, okay, the 9 vulture species we have discussed, and actually since 1993 to 2003, these 10 years were the period when the 96% of the population of the vulture got wiped out, and as they play a very important environment and ecological role, India cannot afford to lose the vultures. As a matter of fact, no country can afford to lose the vulture because they are the nature's scavengers and play a very important role. Now you understand this particular thing. COVID-19 pandemic is a zoonotic pandemic. It means the origin of the COVID-19 were in the some of the animal, and from that animal that particular virus got transitioned into the humans. It has been said that it transitioned from the bat and pangolin, but up till now clear report by the WHO has not been raised. So anyhow, but the COVID-19 is a zoonotic pandemic. Now such pandemics in the future can also come, so we need to have such nature's scavengers to protect us from such kind of diseases in the future. Now what are the threats to vultures? So guys, number one, now these are all the very unique points that I am trying to give you here. Okay, number one, there is the temple tourism. Now you might be knowing that in the state of Tamil Nadu, first of all, in the state of Tamil Nadu, there is a substantial population of the vultures that is found south of the Vindhyas. Largest population of the vulture is found in Tamil Nadu. So in Tamil Nadu, there is in the Singur plateau where there are large number of vultures, there are many temples, historical temples that are there, which are visited by many people. Now because of that particular thing, the vultures are abandoning their nesting sites because they are too much close to the temples. Okay, it leads to noise, and the inflow of the people, so the vultures have abandoned their nesting sites. Now the activists have called that there needs to be the controls over the amount of people that are being allowed into these temples, but up till now nothing has happened in this particular direction. Then the next is that, guys, basically now this is a very unique point. So over the years we have found this particular thing, that an invasive variety of weed, that is the lantana camara. Now lantana camara, it is an exotic weed species which spreads very fast. Now what has happened, basically when we talk about the vultures need an open landscape because the vulture's wingspan is very wide, so they want an open landscape. But when these lantana camara bushes are taking over the region, what is happening, the vultures are not able to spread their wings, and because of that particular thing they are not able to feed, and they abandon that particular region wherever this lantana camara weeds proliferate. So this is one very big issue that is there. Okay, so they cannot safely land. Then the next issue is there, guys, actually because of the illegal tapping of the water around the streams, climate change. Number one, illegal tapping of water, climate change, and number three, forest fires. Because of that particular thing, a particular tree, that is the Terminalia arjuna tree. Now Terminalia arjuna tree, it is a tree which is vulture's nesting site. Okay, now these trees are disappearing because of the water unavailability, climate change, forest fire, and because of that particular thing the vultures are also abandoning these habitats. Okay, this is a very important reason. Then diclofenac poisoning. So I have told you earlier also that when the cattle are there, the cattle are given the diclofenac medications for pain management and for many of the diseases. Now when the cattle die, the diclofenac still stays in their body, and when the vultures feed on that particular cattle which is containing the diclofenac, there is the kidney failure and such complications in the vultures, and they eventually die. So the diclofenac used in the livestock is also leading to the problem. Food limitations, contaminated food, electrocution by the power lines. Okay, so many number of times the particularly two of the birds, vultures and great Indian bustards, they caught in the electrocution line because often their frontal vision is not very good. Okay, now because of this particular thing, 96% of the vultures got declined between 1993 to 2003, and in order to conserve the vulture population, government had come out with the vulture conservation plan from time to time. Up till now, 2 vulture conservation plans have been there. The first vulture conservation plan was brought in 2006, and now the second vulture conservation plan is going on, and it is going on between the period of 2020 to 2025. Now, let's briefly discuss the provision of the Vulture Conservation Action Plan 2020-2025. So, this particular plan provides that the state governments, wherever the vulture population is found, they need to ensure minimum use of diclofenac, so that there is no diclofenac poisoning into the vultures. And one more thing, if any cattle has been treated with diclofenac and if that cattle dies, then that cattle's carcass is to be disposed, so that the vultures cannot feed on that. It needs to be disposed in such kind of a way. Then thirdly, it has been provided that the vulture safety zone are to be established. So for that, vulture safety zone program is being implemented. So wherever there are the highest population of the vultures, okay, there these vulture safety zones will be established. Fine. Even in the Uttar Pradesh, 2 vulture safety zones have been established. Then after that, there will be the rescue centers that will be deployed, where the injured or the ill vultures can be treated. Now these rescue centers have been opened up in Pinjore, Haryana in the north, then in the Bhopal in the central India, Guwahati in the northeast, and Hyderabad in the south. So north, south, northeast, center, these vulture rescue centers have been deployed. So these are some of the important initiatives taken up under the Vulture Action Plan of 2020-2025 that is now going on. Now, basically guys, understand this thing. As a part of this Vulture Conservation Action Plan, the state governments were also to establish the state level committees to save these critically endangered vultures. And in this particular line, now the Tamil Nadu is in news. Why? Because Tamil Nadu has created the state level committee for the vultures protection. What has done? Tamil Nadu, acting on the Vulture Conservation Plan of 2025, it has established the state level committee to set up framework for effective conservation of vulture. Now this particular committee will have a tenure of 2 years, and it will take the steps for monitoring the conservation and recovery of the existing vulture sites. So vulture sites will be recovered, vultures, it will be seen that what are the efforts that have been taken by the responsible agencies. Okay, in Tamil Nadu specifically, out of the 9 varieties of vulture that we have discussed, 4 species are found, which are oriental white-backed vulture, long-billed vulture, red-headed vulture, and the Egyptian vulture. Is it clear? So this is something that has been done. And on the lines of Tamil Nadu, other state governments also need to take such kind of initiatives. It will help further the conservation of the vulture population in India, which happens to be a very important ecological species. Okay, that is all about this thing. Now guys, understand, just I want to share you one thing. Okay, so Jonas Salk, one who invented the polio vaccine, he said at one point of a time that if honeybees will be vanished from this particular earth, within the 40 years the earth will collapse. However, if the human beings will vanish from the earth, within next 20 to 30 years, the earth will bloom, earth will again come back to its glory. So Jonas Salk very clearly provided this particular thing. Apart from the human beings, every species play the very important role in this environment, in this ecology, in this ecosystem. They give resilience to this entire ecosystem. So therefore every species role is very important, but because of the humans activities, anthropogenic activities, the survival of most of these species have got extinct, has come under danger. So we need to now be more responsible in this particular direction. I hope guys that you have understood this particular article. And now we'll move to the next article. PM launches new mission to combat climate change. Okay, so guys, if you remember, yesterday we have taken one editorial also in this particular dimension. Okay, now we'll again discuss this particular issue. So if you have watched the yesterday's newspaper, please try to connect it with the life movement that we discussed yesterday. Okay, anyhow, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number. This article will be seen with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment and climate change related movements. Environment and climate change related movements in India. Okay, now basically what has happened now, guys, the United Nations Secretary General has visited India, and upon the visit of the United Nations Secretary General, the Prime Minister has launched the mission Life from the Statue of Unity in Gujarat. Now, the life stands for lifestyle for the environment movement. Life stands for lifestyle for the environment movement. Now, when we talk about the life movement, the Prime Minister had said this particular thing, that today climate change and the global warming are the main challenges before the world, and the world needs to fight these challenges of climate change and global warming. Prime Minister said this particular thing, that we want to make the fight against climate change democratic, and contribution of everybody in their own capacity. Contribution everybody from their own capacity has to be given, and to start a kind of a Jan Andolan, to start a movement, this life initiative or life movement has been started. Now, I will give you a little bit of a background of this particular life movement, so that you can actually understand that what it is all about. So basically, the idea of the life movement was introduced at the 26th COP that was held in the Glasgow in UK last year. Next month, the 27th COP is going to be organized. When it will happen, we'll see that also. So in COP 26 in Glasgow, it was provided that we need to bring a climate conscious lifestyle movement in the people. Guys, if you remember the yesterday's editorial we discussed, it provided that around 66% of the climate emission, two-thirds of the climate emission or the carbon emission, it is because of the households and the common consumers. Now, all the time the responsibility of government and industry is tagged, but it is also the consumers who play a very important role in carbon emission. So therefore, there was an idea that was promoted, that is, we need to build up an environmentally conscious lifestyle movement where people focus on deliberate utilization, deliberate mindful consumption, rather than the mindless and wasteful consumption. We need to have mindful consumption. Okay, guys, I many number of time discuss with you an idea of linear versus circular economy. Linear versus circular economy. Now, when we talk about the linear economy is called as use and dispose economy. Linear economy is called as the use and dispose economy, where simply we consume an item, you throw that particular item, that's it. Now, this use and dispose economy leads to much of the wastage of the environmental resources. So beyond that, we need to move to circular economy, where we use an item, then we reuse that particular item, then we recycle that particular item or refurbish that item, and then again make it usable, okay, in one or the other way. So circular economy is a sustainable economic model. Fine. Now understand this particular thing, guys. With the rise of capitalism, there has been the rise of consumerism. With the rise of capitalism, I hope it is visible, okay, yes, with the rise of capitalism, there is also the rise of consumerism, and in this consumerism, consuming more and more has been promoted. This is good for capitalism, this is good for generating wealth of the capitalist, but is not good for the environment, and now we need to understand this particular thing. So therefore, we need to move beyond use and dispose economy, okay, and we need to have conscious and deliberate consumption. Now, this movement aims to build pro-planet people. This movement aims to build pro-planet people. Now, what are the pro-planet people? Pro-planet people are those individuals who have a shared commitment to adopt and promote environment-friendly lifestyle. The pro-planet people will be a community where people will reinforce, will motivate each other to have environmental friendly behaviors. Pro-planet people will try to be as much self-sustainable as possible. So this is a kind of a new dimension that has opened up, and guys, actually this is a very new perspective, because for the first time the locus of responsibility is being shifted onto the consumers as well as onto the households also. Fine. So that is all about this particular article. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. This Hindi and Hindi alone council is flawed. Okay. Now this particular article will see with respect to now when we talk about the GS paper number 1, you have a post-independence history. GS paper number 1, post-independence Indian history. Now, in the post-independence Indian history, there have been the language issues that were a very big kind of a federal irritant after the independence. Is it clear or not? The language divide was there between the north and the south. So, the language issue was a very important topic in post-independence history. So, some of the new issues have developed in this particular direction. We'll see that particular thing. Now, let's start with the article. Guys, if you are following the initiative regularly, you might be knowing it also that few days back we have discussed this particular article. Recently what has happened, there is a report of the official language committee that has been submitted to the President of India, and this report of the official language committee is being criticized. Yesterday we have seen one article also fine where the Tamil Nadu government has passed a proposal where they have said that this report should not be accepted by the center. Okay, so Tamil Nadu is not very happy with this official language committee report. Now, first of all, let's discuss the main recommendation of this particular committee, and then we'll be understanding that what exactly are the issues. Now, first recommendation of this particular committee is that they have provided this particular thing, that Hindi should replace English as the language of examination for recruitment to the government. Okay. Secondly, they have said that Hindi should be the only medium of instruction in Kendriya Vidyalaya, central government institutions, in universities, IITs, IIMs. Okay. Now, where? In the states which are Hindi speaking. Okay. In the states which are not Hindi speaking, the education medium could be some other regional language also. Okay. Then it has been provided that it should be constitutional binding on the state government to propagate Hindi. Okay. Now, these are the recommendations that have been given. Now, if you see the recommendation, there is a much more preference that is being given to the Hindi language. Okay. Now, this is something which has not been very much liked by the leaders from the South India. We will see the what apprehensions and concerns they have. But before that, let's understand little bit that what is the mandate of this official language committee that has been there. How this official language committee got constituted, what is the mandate, what is the status, what is the, in terms of, let's say, whether it is very influential or very minor committee. Let's see that. So basically, guys, the official language committee, it is a statutory committee. Statutory committee, it means by the law it has been established. So it has been established under the provisions of the Official Language Act of 1963. Okay. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the time India got independence, at that point of a time, there was a big controversy as what is going to be the official language of India, whether it is going to be Hindi or whether it is going to be English. At that point of a time, consensus cannot be made. Voting was done, and actually the Hindi as an official language won by just one vote. But still, the leaders from the South India were not happy, because they say that many of the people in South India, they don't know Hindi. And if Hindi will become the official language, even the government examinations will happen in the Hindi, the correspondence will happen in the Hindi. So this will be a disadvantage that will be there. Okay. And in the 1950, what happened? Okay. I had provided you this particular background also. In the 1950, what happened? There was a compromise that was made, and as a part of a compromise, it was said for 15 years, that is from 1950 to 1965, we will actually be having both, that is Hindi as well as English as an official language. And after 15 years, we might transition only to the Hindi language. This was an arrangement. Okay, but as the time was going on, people from the South India, they were not very much happy with this particular development, and the protests were started that how Hindi can replace, how Hindi can only be the official language. And then there was the Official Language Act of 1963 that came, and it provided this particular thing. Official Language Act of 1963 came, and it provided that continuance of English indefinitely as an official language will be there. Okay, so this is the entire background that you should know. They said that the English will continue as a official language indefinitely along with the Hindi for the official purpose of union and transaction of business in the parliament. But guys, though this official language act of 1963 came, but the controversy did not got resolved completely here. It will finally be getting resolved in 1967. Why? Because in 1963 the word may was used, okay, that the English may be used as a official language. So still the people were not happy, but anyhow there was an interim relief that was given in 1963. And at that point of a time, under this official language act of 1963, there was one mandate that was given. It was said that from time to time, there should be the committees that have to be instituted, and these committees will review the progress that has been made into the use of Hindi for the official purpose. Okay, how Hindi is being adopted, what development has been there, for that a committee is to be constituted, and this committee will submit their recommendations to the President of India. Is it clear? And now listen, the line that I am going to underline in the red color, it is very, very important. Okay, now the line that I am going to underline. So it was said that the act makes it, okay, just a minute, let me erase it so that you can see it more clearly. So what happened? It was provided that the act makes it obligatory for the president, fine, it makes it obligatory for the president to issue directions in accordance with the whole or any part of the report. So whatever the recommendations will be given by this committee, the president has to follow that. It is obligation. So this wording is something which is very strong. So therefore guys, whatever the recommendations that has been given, these recommendations have a lot of weight. These recommendations have a lot of authority. Okay, now so moreover guys, understand this particular thing, that there is also the article number 343 in the Indian Constitution. Now article 343 of the Constitution declares Hindi in Devanagari script shall be the official language of the union. Is it clear or not? That was something that was provided, and therefore the Hindi has been given so much importance even into the starting 15 years. Now the article the committee that has come, the committee has provided this particular thing, that Hindi should totally replace English as a medium of instruction in the central universities or the central institutions which are into the Hindi speaking belt. Okay, this is something that has been there. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that it is going to open up many of the controversies. Now let's see the impact. Of this particular development. First of all guys, it is going to be a very big emotional issue, because you see this particular thing, one's language is associated with one's culture, and always a person will always be emotional to their culture. Whenever there will be an attack on a person's culture, it will be seen as an attempt, it will be seen as a kind of a negative thing. So it will lead to emotional upsurge. Moreover, we have a history also. In the past, post 1950s, there were many of the struggles that were carried for the linguistic reorganization of the state. So language has been a very emotional issue, and it will divide the people, and that particular thing might impact the unity and integrity of India. It has been provided this particular thing, that in the past also the people from South India, they have a kind of a distrust. It has been often seen that a kind of a Hindigenization has been imposed. The people in the South India have such a kind of a viewpoint, because always such issue has been witnessed from time to time as per one viewpoint. Now the article is saying this particular thing, that if Hindi replaces the English, then the languages, the examination for the recruitment to all India services, they will also be done in Hindi. Now it will give a kind of a distinct advantage to the North Indians, because they have a very good fluency in Hindi. The people in South India, they might be knowing Hindi, but they cannot have the fluency as the North Indians have. So more advantage will be given to the North Indians. Now the next thing that is coming here is that guys, fine, okay, the article 344 subclause 3, article 344 subclause 3, it provides that the commission on official language, the one which have given the report now, it has to take in consideration the due regard of the just claims and interest of people belonging to the non-Hindi speaking areas. So the people from the South India, their concerns, their regards are to be taken in consideration. Without taking in their regards in consideration, no recommendation should be given. Now, secondly, guys, understand that when we talk about the two of the great languages of India, that is the Hindi and the other one being Tamil, both important, both languages are very important. And actually, just I want to move beyond the languages, I want to talk about the language groups. Now we have two language groups in India which are the major one. Okay, number one is the Indo-European language group and second is the Dravidian group. Now the Hindi, the Sanskrit, they have come out of Indo-European, and when we talk about the Dravidian group, okay, the Tamil, it belongs to the Dravidian group, and Tamil is actually being said more ancient, it is actually more ancient than the Sanskrit. Now the idea is such that if we have only one official language, then one group, okay, is being given primacy. What is the logic that Indo-European group in which the Hindi is there is being given more primacy? Why not the Dravidian language group, which is equally significant, equally old, equally important? Why it is not being given significance? This is one criticism that has come. Then the next thing that is there is that southern states cannot decide who will rule from Delhi, because in the government formation major role has been played by the states of the North India, because they have major proportion of seats in the parliament. Okay, so therefore the South India, it doesn't have much say that who will rule from the Delhi, and therefore the South India cannot even be ignored. Fine. Fine, if you remember, few days back, I had given you the quote from Albert Camus, who said that democracy is not the law of the majority, it is the protection of minority. So everybody's concerns are needed to be taken in regard. Okay. The next thing that is being provided, that even when we take the examples of the other countries, fine, many of the multicultural societies are there which have a tradition of using the two languages. For example, you take the example of Canada. Now in Canada, English and French both are their official languages. English and French both are their official languages. So why India cannot have Hindi and English as two languages? So in multicultural societies, such things are needed to be considered. And finally, it is being said that we need to ensure the natural development of the natural development of the Hindi needs to be there. Guys, today when we talk about this particular thing, we need English for the better understanding of science terminology, metrics, all of them are in English. So for that particular thing, English is also needed. So English has its own importance and it should not be seen in a kind of a disdain or such kind of a thing. That is all about this particular article. So guys, this article contains very important points, and even for your polity GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2 polity also, some very important substances have been carried in this particular article. So that is all guys about it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Okay. Addressing North India's burning issue sustainably. Now this particular article talks about the stubble burning issue that is going on, and this particular stubble burning issue has become a kind of an important consideration in the context of the winter pollution problem in North India, Delhi. This topic we'll see with respect to GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3 environment, and actually agricultural dimension has also been covered. So with respect to the environment and agriculture, we'll see this issue. Okay. Now, okay, so this time of the year, that is the end of October and the start of November, is the time when the North India becomes a gas chamber. And I have told you many number of times that even the National Green Tribunal and the Supreme Court has referred to referred to Delhi as the gas chamber, and said it violates the article number 21 of the Indian Constitution, which secures to the people right to life and liberty. And right to life is never complete if right to clean air is not there. So clean air is a fundamental part of the article number 21, and the smoky winter that is now coming, it will impact that. Article provides this particular thing that now often guys, the biggest contributor in the pollution problem is the stubble burning that happens into the state of Haryana, Punjab and Western Uttar Pradesh. In the few days, we will have the in-depth satellite image data, and that satellite image data will provide how many number of fires were observed each day, and on the basis of the fires, the stubble burning, we can calculate, calculate briefly that what was the amount of smoke that was generated by the stubble burning and how much stubble burning had contributed to the poor air quality that will come. Now, the article has tracked in historical sense that what has been the reason of the stubble burning. Okay, now the stubble burning problem in the North India can be traced from 1960s to 1970s after the Green Revolution. Now, the Green Revolution was based on to the idea of enhancing the productivity of the existing fields. In the Green Revolution, the aim was not to bring more fields or more land under the agriculture. Net sown area was high, but the productivity of the land is low. So therefore, what happened? Green Revolution transformed the way the agriculture was practiced in Punjab and Haryana. The high yielding variety of paddy and the wheat got introduced. There was the guaranteed buyer program, that is the government will buy the crops at MSP, minimum support price. Whatever you want to produce, you produce it. Earlier, guys, the sowing were to be calculated on many consideration. For example, what is the demand in the market, okay, the technological inputs that they have at their own. Now after Green Revolution, government will provide subsidized inputs, fertilizers, pesticides, all such high yielding variety seeds, and government will buy also. So what will happen? Agricultural productivity is going to be increased. Now guys, in the North India, basically a crop duopoly, okay, a kind of a crop duopoly got it got to be started. Now what happened? What happened? The problem is this, that actually the North India, particularly Haryana and Punjab, they started to grow the paddy. They started to grow the paddy or the rice. Okay, now the paddy will be grown into the basically the Kharif season, and after that particular thing, when the paddy will be harvested, after that into the Rabi season, the wheat will be grown. Now the duration, the time duration where the paddy is being harvested and the wheat is to be sown, this time duration is very much less. It is around 10 to 15 days at certain times. So therefore, when the paddy is being harvested, the leftover of the paddy, how to dispose it? How to dispose it? Guys, now see, if you read the newspapers every day, we get some really very good points. Few days back, we got a very exact scientific point that why this paddy stubble is burned. It has been provided that actually when we talk about the paddy, there is the basmati rice and then there is the non-basmati rice. So the non-basmati rice, it has a high silica content, and because of that high silica content, the paddy stubble, the leftover, it cannot be fed to the cattle. So therefore, what to do? That paddy is burnt there in the farm only. Okay, why? Because removing it, number one, it will take a lot of cost. Secondly, you don't have time. Okay, so therefore people, they burn it there only. So this is the stubble burning that got started. Now guys, as there are the two seasons of growing, okay, and as efficiency in the agriculture is needed, what happened? The paddy burning, the stubble burning, it became even more prominent. Okay, now that it has been provided that over the years, government also provided much more subsidies on electricity, fertilizer, provided the credit, okay, all this particular kind of a thing. Because of that particular thing, farmers have become even more motivated to grow higher quantities of only two crops, that is in the Kharif season the paddy, and in Rabi season the wheat. This problem has become aggravated. Now recently what has happened, in order to attempt the problem of, now you see this thing, at the same time, the paddy that is being grown in the region of Haryana and Punjab, it is unsustainable also, because minimum of 100 centimeter rain is needed if the paddy is to be grown, but maximum 40 to 55 centimeter of rain is there in Haryana and Punjab. So what is happening? Haryana and Punjab are using the groundwater to grow such paddy crops, and it has brought a water crisis problem in the state of Punjab, as well as in the state of Haryana. And government has come out with the water conservation efforts, where it is encouraging the farmers to look on to the monsoon, that monsoon water should be utilized rather than utilizing the groundwater. Okay, now I already told you that the shortened harvesting season has resulted to this particular thing. Okay, and the stubble burning's repercussions are seen into the Indo-Gangetic Plain, National Capital Region, where the air quality reduced. Now To solve this particular problem, government has proposed many of the in situ and ex situ solutions. Ex situ and in situ solutions. In situ means that there in the farm only these particular stubbles will be disposed, will be managed, and ex situ means that these stubbles will be taken to some other place and there they will be dealt with. Now, when we talk about the in situ solutions, it includes the happy seeders, biodecomposers. Now, if you remember, we have discussed just 2 days back that the Pusa biodecomposer, which is a form of a capsule which has been extracted by the fungi. That capsule is converted in liquid. That liquid is fermented for 8 to 10 days and that is sprayed on the stubble, and by that particular thing, that stubble gets degraded really fast in the soil and it increases the fertility of the soil also. Okay, then we have certain ex situ solutions, which means collecting this particular stubble, and this stubble will be used as the fuel in boilers. It can be used to make the ethanol, as well as it can simply be burnt away along with the coal in the thermal power plants. So if you remember, few days back we have seen torrefaction, as well as we have seen the process of converting these stubbles into the biomass pellets. And today the government, recently the government has come out with this ruling that in the coal fired power plants 5% equivalent of coal should be these biomass pellets that will be converted by using these particular stubbles. So these are some of the solutions, ex situ solutions, that have been proposed. Economic incentives have also been given to reduce this particular burning, but it has a very limited success because number one, government cannot give that incentive endlessly. Secondly, the farmers anyway they have to deal with the problem, and many number of times these economic incentives are not sufficient enough. Okay, so the article is talking about that short term thinking without addressing the root cause will not yield any result. Okay, we need to solve the root of the problem. It has been provided that we need to solve the entire value chain of agriculture. Now you see why the problem is existing. Problem simply exists because of one reason: short period between the paddy and the rabi crop. Okay, when the farmer is not able to dispose that particular stubble, one thing. Second thing is that you know this thing that the paddy anyhow is not very suitable for Punjab and Haryana. So therefore the article is saying this particular thing, that we need to substantially reduce the amount of paddy that is being grown in this region, and we need to replace it with other crops that are equally high yielding and are in demand. So we can replace the paddy with cotton, maize, pulses, oil seeds. Okay, this is something that is done, and for that particular thing there is a kind of a confidence building measures that are to be taken. You cannot force such kind of thing on the farmer, rather farmer are to be taken in confidence, and by taking them in confidence only it is to be done. So we need to have a very sensitive and a kind of a long term approach in this particular direction. Article is talking about this thing, that when we talk about the agriculture, fine, when we talk about the agriculture is not seen just in isolation. Agriculture, nutritional security of India, water, environment, all are and the economy, they all are intertwined with each other. They all are intertwined into each other into the era of Anthropocene. Anthropocene is a classification in the time where the humans have led the maximum impact of the planet. So in the Anthropocene, agriculture, nutrition, economy, water, all are intertwined. Is it clear? So all this particular problem is to be seen comprehensively. We need to have intersectoral policy making. Fine. So in one go we need to solve all these particular problems simultaneously. So there is a comprehensive solution that is needed. Fine. That's all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Should Dalit Muslims and Dalit Christians be given the scheduled caste status, SC status? Okay. Now, guys, this particular full length article has come, and this particular article is talking about a recent issue that has happened. Okay, now guys, recently what has happened, the union government has constituted a 3-member commission headed by the former Chief Justice of India to examine that whether the scheduled caste status can be given to the Dalit converts. Now the people who were Dalit, they got converted to the Christianity, or if they got converted to Islam, should they be given the scheduled caste status after their conversion or not? Now, the commission that has been established, it is the KG Balakrishnan Commission. The KG Balakrishnan Commission has been constituted to study this particular matter. This particular commission will be submitting its report in the next 2 years. So, just a minute. Okay, so this particular commission will be submitting the report into the 2 years. Now, broadly, the issues in this particular direction we will be going to discuss in this particular article, and I will not just only be restricting to this article, I will also be giving you the substance from the articles that have come in the past as well as the other newspapers also, so that you can get a holistic understanding on this entire issue. Now, this particular issue will be seen with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, social justice, GS paper number 2, social justice. Okay, now, so basically guys, when we talk about the recent issue, Supreme Court of India asked the position of the government that whether the government is considering that the people, okay, just a minute, I'll tell you one thing. See, when we talk about guys the scheduled caste status, scheduled caste status is given to certain communities who has faced the evil of untouchability in the past. Because of the untouchability, they were never able to get education, their development never happened. And when we talk about the untouchability as a practice got evolved because of the Varna Vyavastha. It got evolved because of the Varna Vyavastha. Is it clear? And the Varna Vyavastha as a system existed in Hinduism. So originally the people who belonged to the scheduled caste, scheduled caste, they were from the Hindu religion only. And in this particular direction, what has happened, just after the constitution, just after we got the constitution, government of India passed the constitution order of 1950, and in this constitution order of 1950, government provided that scheduled caste status is to be given to the people who have been treated with untouchability, and these people will be from the Hindu community. This particular thing was provided. Is it clear? Now, basically over the period we have seen this particular thing that okay, the scheduled caste status is given to some of the Hindus who were treated as untouchable, but guys, over the periods it has been seen that the Dalits, they got changed their religion and they converted to other religion. Now, when a Dalit is converting to other religions, if the scheduled caste status was given earlier, should that scheduled caste status continue after that conversion also or not? That has been the case. Now, in this particular direction guys, I told you already, I'll tell you some very important points. Please be very careful. In this particular direction, I told you that the constitution order of 1950 provided that the SC status is to be given only to the Hindus. Okay, however, this particular order had got amended from time to time. First it got amended in 1956 and it provided that the Dalits who had converted to Sikhism, they will also be given the scheduled caste status. So converted Dalits were given. Then after that in 1990 again this order got amended and it was said that the Dalits who had converted to Buddhism, they will also be given the scheduled caste status. Now these recommendations are based on some expert panels. For example, the 1956 recommendation to include the Dalits who got converted in Sikhism, it was based on the Kaka Kalelkar Commission of 1955, and the second one where it was said that the Dalits who got converted to Buddhist, they should also be given, it was based on to the high powered panel on minority scheduled caste and scheduled tribe commission which came in 1983. So if I tell you today, then guys, as of today there are the Dalits who got converted to Sikhism and Buddhism, who are also given the scheduled caste status. Now, what about the Dalit who got converted to Christianity and Islam? There have been the demands from time to time that they should also be given the scheduled caste status. Is it clear or not? Now, in this particular direction, already in 2019, the union government has rejected that Dalit Christians should be given the SC status. They have said this particular thing, that the imperial order of 1936. Now, when the Britishers were ruling, at that point of a time also this demand came. But at that time, imperial order of 1936 very clearly provided that Indian Christians, okay, cannot be given the SC status. They were excluded. Indian Christians were excluded from giving the SC status. That is something that has been there. But anyhow, again, the demands for giving the SC status to the Dalits who converted to Christianity and Islam is again being made. Now, in this particular direction, the Registrar General of India, it in the past has opposed such kind of demands. Number one, the Registrar General of India provided that even when the Buddhists were being given the status in 1990, the Registrar General of India was against that also. A Registrar General of India had provided this particular thing, that first of all, they cannot be given the SC status because Article 341 is there. Now, what is Article 341? Please listen very carefully. Now, the inclusion of a community into the scheduled caste, it has been provided into the Article 341 of the Indian Constitution. It has been provided that actually Article 341 provides that a single, now just a minute, it has simply provide that that only the people who can be categorized as a single ethnic group, only the people who can be categorized as a single ethnic group, they should be recognized into the scheduled caste, and anyone who cannot be categorized as a single ethnic group, they cannot be included into the scheduled caste status within the purview of Article 341. So listen, I will explain you in very simple words. Now, when we talk about the Christians, when we talk about the Islam, the people who belong to Islam, they don't have they don't belong to single ethnic group. They have their different cultures, they have their different practices, they have their different views, okay. And Article 341 provides that the people should belong to one ethnic group. So therefore, the people who converted to Christianity and Islam cannot be included. This is something that has been provided. Secondly, the Registrar General of India provided that untouchability has been existed in Hinduism, okay, and it has not been existing into the Christianity and Islam. So why to give the scheduled caste status to them when they got converted? Moreover, it has also been provided that basically that if such kind of a thing will be given, then the number of scheduled caste will increase so much, and the real benefit of reservation cannot be given to anyone then. So therefore, Registrar General of India has denied this particular thing. Moreover, the union government says this thing, that when we talk about the Sikhism and Buddhism, according to the union government, they are the offshoots of Hinduism only, so they can be given. But Christianity and Islam are completely different set of religion. They are the Abrahamic religion, so there the such kind of a reservation cannot be given. Is it clear or not? Now guys, in this particular direction, you understand this thing, that in the past many of the demands have been provided, many of the demands have been made, and there are many of the committees which have recommended that actually they should be included. Now I had given you the list of all the committees that have recommended that the Dalits who got converted in the Christianity and Islam should be included. I'll read the name. So first, Backward Commission 1953, Report of Committee on Untouchability, Economic and Educational Development, High Powered Panel Report on SC, ST and Minorities, Mandal Commission, Report to the Prime Minister, the High Level Committee's report, then the Rangnath Mishra Commission. All of them had recommended that government should give the Dalits who got converted to Islam and Christianity the SC status. Now, what is their suggestion? They have said this particular thing, that actually even when a person changes the religion, social deprivations will not be removed. They will continuously be existing there, so still they should be given. That is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. So now abhi, as of now what has happened, the committee has been constituted. It will give its suggestion in 2 years, so we'll see. And now that committee is examining the issues. It will examine that what happens to a person when the person changes the religion in terms of their social status, whether there is some improvement in social status that comes or not. So over the next 2 years, all these particular recommendations will be given, and then we'll say. But I hope that you should not be there after 2 years also. You should clear the exam in this very year, in your very first attempt. That is my expectation and my wishes for you. Okay, now let's read this article. Center launches the program to strengthen the Kashi Tamil Nadu bond. To strengthen the Kashi Tamil Nadu bond. Now, before going on this particular article, let's discuss little bit of a background. And guys, I hope that if you are following the newspaper analysis regularly, you don't even need the background, but I'll tell anyhow, don't worry. So if you remember, we have discussed this particular article, Hindi and Hindi alone, where we have discussed the report of the official language committee that was given to the president. And in this particular report, the preference was given that the Hindi should be used as a medium of instruction in the Hindi speaking belts. It has been provided that Hindi should be the language of examination, and all such kind of things have been provided. Okay, now basically, now this particular thing, now the government has provided that actually there is a divide between the north and south, and this particular divide is onto the lines of language, and this particular and this particular divide is to be plugged. This particular divide is to be closed. So therefore there is a need of integration, there is a need of increasing the fraternity, as well as the connect between the north and south India is to be plugged up. Language should not be a divider. Language should not be something which should divide the people. And in this particular direction, the Kashi Tamil Samagam is being launched. Kashi Tamil Samagam is being launched. What is this Kashi Tamil Samagam? So it is guys going to be a 1 month long program to strengthen as well as to rekindle, to rejuvenate, to revive the cultural and civilizational bond between Tamil Nadu and Varanasi, that is the south and the north. So the Varanasi historically has been known as Kashi, okay, and the Tamil Nadu, fine, it has been equated with the Tamilian society, Tamil Samagam. So Kashi Tamil Samagam is being organized. Now already government is running one scheme by the name of Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat. Now under the Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat, the cultural exchanges, cultural visits happens. So the students from one state, they will be going to other states, they will know their culture, they will know their cuisine, they will know their practices. All such kind of things are done under the Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat. So as a part of Ek Bharat Shrestha Bharat, now what will be happening? 2,500 people, they will be divided in 12 groups, and they will be traveling to Varanasi by the train during this particular period, okay. And then at the same time, the people from north will be going to Tamil Nadu. So from Tamil Nadu, people will go to Varanasi, and from Varanasi, people will go to Tamil Nadu, okay. In Tamil Nadu, they will be visiting in Chennai, they will be visiting Rameshwaram, Coimbatore, and these people, they will include students, teachers, artisans, and people from the different walks of life. Now that particular thing is being done so that people can know each other. People can know each other, people can experience the diversity, people can experience the diversity of languages, etc. Now this is actually a very good initiative which is being built to enhance the diversity, fine, in India, as well as to enhance the spirit of common brotherhood and fraternity that has been clearly provided as one of the fundamental duty in article number 51A in the Indian constitution. So this is something good which is going to start. Then guys, this Kashi Tamil Samagam, it can also be important for the prelims examination. In the prelims in the past, such examinations, such questions have been passed. So prelims examination and GS paper number 1 social issues, GS paper number 1 social issues and prelims, this article will be important. Okay, so I hope that you have understood it. Now if you remember, I told you already that this language issue is going on. So the center decision comes at a time when Tamil Nadu had moved a resolution against Hindi imposition. Okay, so that is all guys about this particular article. Fine, and now we'll move to the mains practice question for the today. So today's mains practice question, guys, okay. So the question reads that the union and the state government have taken a series of attempts to address the problem of stubble burning. However, yet to see any significant improvement in the situation. In this context, what policy measures are required further to address the issue of the stubble burning? Okay, so guys, in the past many articles we have taken up. Okay, so you can write really good answer on this particular thing if you recall the contemporary developments and contemporary articles that we have taken into the past. Just for a hint, you can add the pusa decomposer, you can talk about the interstate cooperation, you can talk about the recent notification where the coal fired power plants are required that 5% of their fuel should be in the form of biomass pellets. These biomass pellets will be manufactured by using the stubble. Then if you remember E25 article we have discussed, where it was provided that ethanol blending target is to be a 20% ethanol blending target was to be achieved by 2025. And when we talk about the ethanol blending, in the ethanol blending the stubbles can be used for making the fuel. Okay, so all these points you can use and you can write a very good answer and understand this particular thing. Guys, see, when we talk about this particular topic, it becomes a more of a kind of a static topic of the pollution, but still, if you are very if you are following the contemporary current affairs pertinently, okay, you can take a lot of references which will give a very good dimensionality to your answer. So that is all guys about this particular article, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you are liking the initiative and I hope you are getting the benefit out of this initiative. So that is all guys from my side, and if you think that this video has helped you, fine, you can like the video, you can leave your lovely comments, fine, they are really encouraging to us, and please spread the initiative so that we can bring even more value addition in our sessions. Okay, thank you so much guys. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.